So welcome to the assumptions section of the course. So I'll start off by saying that any good financial model lives and dies by the assumptions. It's probably the longest section, and it's because you really want to spend the proper time setting up your assumptions correctly. And if you do that, it'll drive the rest of the model. You'll see even in my video, we set up all our assumptions, then later on we have to go back and add a few things. Not a big deal, and that's kind of just commonplace what they run into. But you definitely want to put in, the bulk of the assumptions and lay them out properly. So in the videos, we'll go through kind of the formatting and best business practices to do so. I broke it down by the type of assumption, and you'll see as the spreadsheet starts to grow, we go through our revenue, our COGS, our different various expenses, our balance sheet, and then our investment, all laid out. And I think the key points are organization and kind of a clear formatting. For example, you'll see in my videos, I always box things where there's an input needed, and I'd make that text red. So that's an indicator to the user, hey, I need to input something here. And as well, anything that's a black text, you don't want to mess with, or at least it's not going to impact the numbers later on. Just one other thing I'll mention, and I'm sure I mentioned it in the videos as well. The proper, I would say, best business practice format for financial model is to have every single assumption and input on one sheet. And then all the rest of your tabs, your financial statements are driven off of those assumptions. So if you ever need to make a change, you go to the assumptions tab, and you know that. We don't, put a few numbers where we input on the P&L, because you're going to forget. And later down, you go to edit this model a year from now, and you forget what is exactly you did, or even worse, somebody else takes your model and they try to play with it. And they're not going to know where they should be changing numbers unless you strictly kind of set up this formatting. And as well, we don't embed things like a percentage. You don't take a tax line and say, okay, tax is always 35%. I'll just multiply this by 35%. Make an assumption that's where they can input the tax rate and then drag that into whatever formulas you need. So just as an example, that's the best way to set up assumptions. Take your time. I know it takes a bit to go through. I think as well, it'll give us a nice kind of dive into the model and just really get to start thinking about your business. How much are things going to cost? When am I going to have to pay that expense, etc. So the assumptions is definitely different from the financial statements, where we're actually doing more accounting and thinking through how do we link up each of these assumptions. So good luck with it, and I welcome any questions.